Randall Hughes with God Glorified, and we are commenting on today's reading for August the 13th, in which we read from Habakkuk chapter 3, some passages from Jeremiah, and into Daniel chapter 1. And so the book of Habakkuk ends with a song, and that's why it has the Selah on a couple of occasions. Those are typically considered like a fermata in most musicians' language of today. That's a rest, a pause to consider what's just been played, what's just been said. And so once again, the warnings of God, the wrath of God coming, the judgment of God coming against his people, all the way to the end of the book where he says, there may be nothing to eat. There may be no flocks in the stalls, and no fig trees on the tree, and no fruit on the vine, no olive, nothing anywhere. And yet he says, I will rejoice in Yahweh. I will joy in the God of my salvation. Yahweh God is my strength, and he will make my feet like hinds' feet, and he will make me to walk upon mine high places. And much like in the Psalms, it said, this is to the chief singer on my stringed instruments. And so this was a song that Habakkuk wrote. And so this is one of those places where I read and I go, I want to be praising the Lord. No matter my situation, no matter my circumstance, I want to give him praise and thanks, believing in him and trusting in him to turn the situation and to make it better and to provide for me. And then the example in the 35th chapter of the sons of the Rechabites and his sons, his offsprings, that Jonadab, one of the son of Rechab, said to his sons not to drink wine, made a covenant with them, basically not to consume wine ever, and also a few other things, not to build houses and things. And Jeremiah took them into the house of the Lord and said, here's wine, drink it. And they refused because of the commandment of their father that they were obeying, and they had determined that they were going to obey that. And he said, this is basically a judgment against the house of Judah, against the house of Israel, because they've not kept my commandments. And yet here's an example. And the awesome thing is that God said, therefore, in verse 19, Jeremiah was at 35, I believe. He said, therefore, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel, Jonadab the son of Rechab shall not want a man to stand before me forever. There's something about somebody that stands for truth and stands for God, that God will stand with them and establish them and their children. And it's something, obviously, I can't live for my children, but it's my desire to at least establish them and put the truth in front of them for them to have an opportunity to obey, to be an example to them. And that's something that I strive to do and pray that you're doing with your children as well. And so then we go on, God saying, comparing once again with the wine in Jeremiah 25, he said, give this to the nations. These are the people that are going to be judged, and the sword will fall upon them, and they will be drinking and be as drunkards. And then we go into Daniel chapter 1, and how that there were some of the king's seed, some of the best of the land that Nebuchadnezzar had brought into Babylon in the early captivity of 606. And then we concluded our reading there with the land being in astonishment and desolation because of the nation, and that they would serve Babylon for 70 years. The 70 years was determined because of the length of time that they had not taken a Sabbath of the land. And I believe we'll probably have a little more description of that given in some of the reading in the days ahead. But that was the reason 70 years was chosen and determined against the land. And so that's going to conclude our reading and our comments for today. And all I know is I want to be obeying God. I want to be doing my best to strive to obey every commandment of God, and to give and rejoice and to give the praise and glory that's due unto his name, and encourage you to do the same so that God is glorified. God bless you.